We're going to take the channels that are coming into this console. We're going to group them into 3 different groups based on their transient properties. Now, I know I say this almost every video, but this is a game changer. I'm telling you what, this right here, if you apply what I'm about to share with you, your mixes will transform. This is not a technique that I saw somewhere. I didn't hear anybody else talking about it. This is just something I made up. If anybody else is sharing anything similar to this, that's cool. I just didn't get it from them. This is something that after mixing for a really long time in churches, I was like, you know what? This would make life so much easier. Okay, let's use the analogy of a puzzle. You dump out the pieces on the table, then what do? I mean, I guess you could just start putting things together, but that's not going to get you very far. You do things like find the edge pieces or the corner pieces, or maybe there's a big blue sky or there's a large building or something. You start grouping things together. Now you're working on the sky. Now you're working on the edges. You found all 4 corner pieces. You've put those in place. And then you start to kind of fill in from there. And that's a much more effective way to put a puzzle together than to just dump it out and just start placing things. And so we can take that sort of concept, that same sort of thing, and we can apply it to the channels on the soundboard. Okay, so what's our corner pieces? What's our blue sky? What's our building? Because those exist on the soundboard. We just got to find them. Okay, we're going to categorize everything on the console with 3 groups, and they're all going to be based off of their transient tone. What do I mean by that? Well, a snare drum is a great example of a quick, fast, it's there and it's gone. It's there and it's gone. So let's take a listen. You hear how it's there and it's gone. So we can run a little experiment with this to make things a lot simpler. As I'm talking, I'll hit the snare drum. You notice how you can pretty much hear my voice the whole time. Like, it's not hard to hear it. There's a snare that every now and then spikes, and you might, a syllable or something you might not be able to hear. But for the most part, you can still hear my voice just fine because it's there and then it's gone. Okay, let's talk about an acoustic guitar. So an acoustic guitar has some transient, quick, fast transient tone, but it lasts a lot longer than, say, a kick drum or a snare. Because if I'm playing and I start to talk, my voice is going to get covered up a lot faster because there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more energy. There's a lot more space. Make sense? So I would consider this Category 2. Okay, Category 3 would be these big, warm, full, round, kind of cinematic, atmospheric sort of sounds that, depending on your style of worship, is very critical. And a lot of times pianos, like pads, or electric guitars can sometimes fit into this category depending on their sounds and all that kind of stuff. But anything that's big and round and full. So if we continue down this line where I talk while playing over top of these different categories, you'll be able to hear that it's a lot harder to hear my voice with this big pad that's going on in the background. So you can see that, like, even just holding this pad out, like, it's a lot harder to hear my voice than it was with the snare drum. That's why you got to be careful. Okay, if you've been watching my videos, you'll notice that I haven't really been talking about the gear so much. It's more about up here. It's more about getting our brains and our minds in the right spot, thinking about things from just the human perspective. And so this concept is huge because you could use this on any console or any space. I'm not showing you yet how to group these channels on a console. I'm showing you how to group them in your mind. And that's going to translate to all kinds of ways to process and to think about how you place things in your mix. Quick example of this would be you can put a lot more kick and snare in your mix than you can the pad. And what do I mean by that? Well, the kick is there and gone. Snare is there and gone. So technically, if you were to meter those out and you were to look at where they hit on the meter, they can be up there. No problem. But if you were to put a pad or a big round electric guitar up at that same decibel level and it stays at that decibel level, we got ourselves a problem. You wouldn't have any room for the vocals or the bass guitar or the acoustic guitar or a regular piano. And so by putting these in these categories, it really helps because now you can think, okay, kick, snare, hi-hats, things like that, those are in category 1. Got it. Vocals, acoustic guitar, maybe electric guitar, maybe just plain piano, that kind of stuff. Category 2. And then big round sounds, pads and big atmospheric guitars and stuff like that. Category 3, or tracks, category 3. And so you can kind of think of them as danger zone levels. Category 3, you got to be real careful. Category 1, it's okay. You can get that up there. Now, of course, all of this depends on your space and what you're doing. I'm not giving you the green light to go ahead and just pump the kick drum in the house because that could be a problem in and of itself. But category 1, usually you can get away with a lot more than category 3. So this Sunday, I want to present a challenge to you guys. Okay, challenge this week. Try this out. Try taking your brain and thinking about putting everything in 3 different categories and just sit back and listen. Don't look at the console. Just sit back and listen. Maybe go out into the space, wherever your favorite space in the room during practice, while you're getting the band dialed in, and just listen. Think about the 3 categories that we're talking about here. And try to start placing them in their appropriate spots based off their category. This is just a different way to kind of unlock different parts of your brain, to get it activated and to think differently about how you're mixing. Maybe you're stuck, maybe you've been really stuck in like, oh, how do I EQ? How do I compress? How do I do this? This takes you away from that. And it gets you to go, okay, hang on. A kick drum is there and gone, but a pad is there. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And it really stops and it gets you away from the gear and it gets your brain activated. So this Sunday, I'm challenging you guys that are running sound, this Sunday. And then leave a comment, like, subscribe. You guys can buy me a coffee. All that stuff's in there. If you want to know what gear I'm using, there's Amazon affiliate links, all that stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video.